or 6, and I'm talking 8:40 yesterday. I ran 9:30 a mile. All right, 9 minutes and 30 seconds per mile. I think it kind of shocked a lot of people. And what I'm doing, everybody, I am simply Welcome. Here we go. Back in the studio, another vlog all about running and your weekly mileage, how to structure your running. This is probably the #1 training question that I receive on social media, on Strava, on down in the comments. So I want to make another vlog. I think it's been 18 months since I've made a vlog just about how to build and structure your weekly mileage, or if you want to look at it from a monthly perspective, even some people do quarterly, okay? So that's another option as well to think about. And yes, I'm not going to talk about my run. Instead, we're going to dive right in. If you want to see what I did today, hop over to Strava and it is posted there. So here's the deal. Yesterday we talked about, 3 vlogs are listed down below in the description. I've decided to update these vlogs. These are the most popular vlogs on the channel from the past 60 days, okay? So this is a new, again, just listening to your comments with all the new subscribers all the time. They're like, Seth, I want to find the best content readily. So I decided every 60 days I will be updating the top 3 vlogs on the channel down in the description. Sound good? So they're listed down below. Kind of surprising. Two of the 3 are kind of surprising. So anyway, all right, here we go. Yesterday, macro level. All right, if you didn't see it, upper right-hand corner, how to structure, actually, let's do it. How to structure your training more from a zoomed out perspective over a training block and also an annual calendar year, what I like to call the roller coaster, okay? So let's say you're looking at 60 miles for the week. So you're coming up, this is January, this is December, and let's say by the end of the year, you want to be hitting 75 miles a week. So this is just a very simple graph and simple, I'm not a great artist, showing how I would structure my mileage. So 60, 70, 75, okay? Going over, yes, an entire 12-month period rather than just jumping over, let's say, 3 months or even 6 months from 60 to 75. Also, one more point is that before we get into the specific mileage, and I'm going to break it down by beginner, intermediate, advanced, and even elite, elite status, elite, if you're trying to really, make that really big jump to, let's say, a competitive level where you're seeking out sponsorships, I will list that volume and how to structure the week as well here in a minute. Okay, but first of all, I've been running for 22 years. I've had, I counted it up inside the house, 4 cross-country coaches and 3 track coaches in my entire life. So I've been exposed to a lot of different philosophies and thoughts and ideas about how to train, how to structure my personal weekly volume. And then since college, 10 years ago, I've been coaching myself for the past 10 years, but really in a very intentional way the last 5 to 6 years, just trying to tinker around and figure out what actually works for me. Now, the volume that I'm about to talk about is definitely geared toward, let's say, road running. However, when I am talking about harder days, up-tempo days here in a minute, if you are focused more on trail running or ultra running, you can basically replace what I'm saying if I'm saying, an up-tempo day or going to the track for a hard threshold day, you can basically replace that with more vertical, okay? So that's been my secret. It's not a secret. Like, I post everything on Strava. When I am preparing for the Pikes Peak Marathon, like twice a week at least, I am getting above 11,000 feet here in Colorado of altitude to go train. So that is my supplementary, that is how I prepare for hard mountain races rather than, let's say, doing intervals on the track or even a fartlek, out on a trail somewhere. All right, here we go. Let's dive in. So how many miles per week should I be running is probably what you're considering or asking yourself if you're watching this vlog. I gotta say up front, I don't know you, okay? So take everything I'm about to share with a grain of salt. I don't know your experience level. I don't know your injury history. And I don't know your goals, okay? So just keep that in mind as I'm sharing the numbers here in a minute. Oh yeah, and the titles, is it on this side? I think it's on this side. The titles that I put up on the screen will be very, very critical here in the next 5 minutes. Also, I don't take personally in a training block, okay? So this would be considered one training block, one roller coaster ride, or one bell curve, whatever you want to call it, from here to here. I personally don't take days off, okay? Meaning I don't run. Now, I'm not saying that is a rule you have to follow at all. In fact, a lot of runners and even frankly a lot of coaches now recommend taking at least one day off a week or maybe one day off every 2 weeks. And I gotta say, if you feel really tired for some reason, but you shouldn't, but if you do, I would take a day off or 2 days off, all right? Just putting it out there. And I don't do cross training either. And I'll explain right now, is that I use my easy days. So when you see on Strava 3 miles easy or 6, and I'm talking 8:40 yesterday, I ran 9:30 a mile. All right, 9 minutes and 30 seconds per mile. I think it kind of shocked a lot of people. And what I'm doing, everybody, I am simply warming up the body, warming up the legs so that when I return to my house, I can foam roll better, stretch better. It's the active recovery is what it's called, in the running world. Now that is what I prefer to do. And I think a lot of athletes and coaches forget the mental side of running. I prefer to have an easy day of 3 miles where I'm at least lacing up my shoes, turning that doorknob for the mental side, okay? All right, even though physically, could I take a day off and be fine? Absolutely. But I prefer to get out the door, breathe fresh air every day during the training blocks. And then, after the roller coaster, I do take time off where I'm not running, and I'll talk about that here in 1 minute. All right, let's dive in. First of all, the moving stage, all right? This is what you would call the classic beginner stage of running, when you're just getting moving. And I shouldn't even use that word just. I can't stand that word sometimes. This is a big moment for you. It's not just. If you are a beginner runner, getting off the couch, that classic couch to 5K story, this is a big moment, okay? So I call it let's get moving. And for all the stages of running, we've got that moving stage, the beyond beginner stage, the progression stage, advanced stage, and then the elite stage, or the stage where you're really trying to be competitive, in your local half marathons, maybe even if you're getting into ultra marathons. And this is the framework that I have worked with over the past 5 years, okay? So as far as the amount of months and years to arrive at these different stages, this is looking more at that macro level for progressing as a runner, okay? So it's, again, what I'm always saying, it's the game of patience. Okay, breaking down the moving stage, 20 miles a week. Monday, we've got a walk. Tuesday, 3 miles easy. Wednesdays will always be a middle distance day. Thursday, 3 miles easy. Friday, 4 miles tempo. Saturday, walk. Sunday, 6 mile long run. And keep in mind, your work schedule, you might work on the weekends. So all of these calendars that I'm throwing, or all these week structures that I'm going to share, can just be rotated and moved around depending on your personal life circumstances, okay? Just want to make that clear. You don't have to do a long run on Sunday. That's the traditional way to do it in the running world because, most people work Monday to Friday. But listen, if you work on the weekends, you just have to bump things down a day or bump your training up a couple days, etc. etc. Okay, so Wednesdays, middle distance days. Sundays, long runs. Mondays, easy days. Thursdays, easy days. Tuesdays and Fridays, typically for me, are a little more up-tempo. Or if you're getting ready for a mountain or ultra race, that's when you go seek out that vertical. Again, keeping in mind that I don't know your personal situation and your experience level. Moving on to that beyond beginner stage, so that's 6 to 18 months, we're bumping up to 40 miles a week, okay? But again, you don't just jump into 40 miles a week. If you're if you're a newer runner, take the time to build that aerobic engine over at least 6 months. And even it might take 12 and it might take 18 months before you even consider going up to 40 miles a week. Again, we really, really want to avoid any injuries, okay? So that is why if your body, your bones, your muscles, your ligaments are not used to the pounding on the pavement, that is why you take this slower approach to building your volume, all right? So here we go. Monday, 3 miles, Tuesday, 6, Wednesday, 7, Thursday, 5, Friday, 6, Saturday, 4, Sunday, 9. And notice, no more walking, okay? So you're running every day of the week. Again, if you do want one day where you're walking or you're not doing anything, you can just bump up, and you still want to hit 40 miles a week, you can just bump up your easy days, maybe a couple miles on a Monday or a Thursday, or you could bump up your long run by 1 run, etc. So there's ways to be flexible. That's another way to look at this. You absolutely can be flexible in what I am proposing, especially early on when the volume is a little bit lower. Okay, progression stage, 18 to 36 months. So for that 60 miles a week, all right? So here, I'm just gonna put it on the screen so you can look it over, analyze it a little bit. You see that long run is getting a little bit longer. Okay, moving up to that half marathon distance, still on Wednesdays, that middle distance days. I should have mentioned earlier is that long runs traditionally are approximately 20% of your weekly volume. Middle distance days, 15% of your weekly volume, roughly. I usually like to bump it up a little bit, actually, and I'll explain more about that here in a minute, what I prefer to do for my weekly volume. All right, so there you go. All right, advanced stage, and yes, I think that to run a marathon, you need to be training at least 70. Oh yeah, and here it is for that 3 to 5 year plan. I personally don't recommend, if you're a new runner, running marathons, and this is, again, some people can do it, but I've seen a lot of runners get injuries and be injured by jumping into high volume. So I'm going to say 70 miles a week is getting upwards of high volume, and they end up with an injury. So the whole idea here is to progress over calendar years, okay? So this is 1 year, so you need to do this 3 times. So I don't have it on here, but you're going little roller coasters over here, and this would be the 3rd year, okay, moving into that marathon training, where I'm always saying 70 miles a week, I say, is the minimum. More ideal would be 80 miles a week in order to prepare well for the marathon distance, where you feel like you're fit and you can actually go out and run 26.2 miles straight, no stopping, no walking. I recommend at least 70 and preferably 80. So that's where I'm at here with the advanced stage, 3 to 5 years to arrive here. And again, here it is on your screen. This is also the moment where you can potentially begin to add doubles. It's okay to break up your volume a little bit, and I would recommend doing it actually on hard days, so Tuesday, Fridays, rather than Monday, Thursdays. Again, easy days easy, hard days hard. So if you want to break up the volume a little bit, if you don't want to do 13 on Tuesday straight, 13 on Friday straight, you could break that up and just split it down the middle, or you could do 4 in the morning and then 9 in the afternoon, just to make it and it might work better with your work schedule as well. Or if you're ready for that speed work a little more, so you're going to do a fartlek in the afternoon on a Friday after work. Maybe you get out of work a little early on a Friday, you go do a 9-mile fartlek, but you just don't want to do 13 because you just feel like your legs aren't quite ready for that. You could do 4 miles in the morning. Not easy, but at that steezy pace, because it is a Friday day where you need to keep that tempo up just a little bit, okay? So there you go. And yes, obviously 20 miles is not 20-mile long run on Sunday is not 20% of 80, right? Okay. But I think that to run a marathon in your training, you should really seek out at least 20-mile long runs, all right? And for me, I love moving on to more of that elite / competitive stage. I prefer, and I'm talking a little bit more, 5Ks and 10Ks, it's a little different. Just keep that in mind. In fact, I don't think you need to be running, yes, 90 to 100, and there it is on your screen, what I'm dabbled in this past training block, 130 miles a week. You don't need to be running 130 miles a week to prepare for a 5K and a 10K. Just putting that out there. 90, maybe, but that's even debatable, okay? But I'm going to take 100 just to keep the numbers easy. 100 miles a week. Here it is on your screen. I prefer that 23-mile long run when I'm running 100 miles a week. I don't know what it is. Going past 23, I feel like I'm pushing myself a little bit too much. And anything under 20, I feel like I have something more in the tank. And that's a good place to be in your training. But I basically, when I arrive at 22, 23, I feel like I'm getting a good, solid day of work in. That's where I've landed after, again, doing this testing for 5 years, building off of my experience in college where we never really went past 20-mile long runs, all right? I'm also older, and it's just your body gets stronger as you get older, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so there you go. There's the volume, and definitely doubling Tuesdays, Fridays, definitely doubling. And again, if I'm getting ready for the Pikes Peak Marathon, I'm replacing these tempo days, these threshold days, these track days. I'm replacing that with vert. All right, lots of vertical, okay? So that's the structure there. Keeping in mind, again, you can be flexible in the sense that, and I guess, okay, just to be clear, real quick, I'm just racking my brain here. Middle distance days is another opportunity to build that aerobic engine. Steady pace, not a tempo pace, nothing too fast. But not steezy or easy either, okay? Just building that, getting those miles in, building up that aerobic engine. Okay, so there you go. Once again, on your screen, all of them. Moving stage, beyond beginner stage, progression stage, advanced stage, elite or competitive stage. And oh my goodness, we could go into so much more detail. Here we go. My rules of thumb, the SJD rules of training. I just jotted a couple down. Patience in your aerobic development. We're talking 18 months, 3 years, and I'd say in 3 years, if you're not seeing a lot of progress, email me or let me know, because something's not right if in 3 years after you've began to run, you should be seeing a lot of advancement by 3 years, okay? But 18 months, like, just be patient, all right? Easy days easy, hard days hard. The best marathon runners in the world, the world record holders, do their easy days at 8:30 a mile, even 9 minutes a mile, and yes, even what I even did yesterday, 9:30 a mile. Sometimes, why? They're tired. They need to recover. So easy days easy, hard days hard. Aerobic engine building first, before speed. I'm going to say it. This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say it. If I had to choose long, harder tempo runs or middle distance threshold runs, so what I did a couple, 10 days ago, just that threshold pace for 16 miles, that is way more important for my training than going to the track and doing 12 by 400 meter repeats. Keeping in mind, I'm talking about half marathon for me specifically. If I was getting ready for a 5K, it'd be definitely different. 10K, it'd be a little more of a mix, but I'm just going to say long tempo runs and middle distance threshold runs, way more important. Back-to-back hard days are good if you have time to recover, okay? So don't be afraid of back-to-back hard days. You will see that in my training on Strava. And then, of course, easy days are simply warm-up routines, active routines to get the legs warmed up and the body warmed up to come back, or to go to the gym and hop in the, to stretch, foam roll, and then hop in the hot tub. You're just getting ready for the next day with easy days. Whether you're getting ready for a long run or getting ready for a threshold run, middle distance run, etc., etc. Oh man, I know I went long. I know that was a lot. I hope it helps as we begin 2021. I know I've been talking in the studio a lot these last 5, 6, 7 days, but I just wanted to get it out the door for everybody, especially the new runners who just have never, are just have no idea, and that's awesome. Like, welcome to the running world. Don't be intimidated. I always say, keep running simple. All right, this sport, we're not hockey players. We're not downhill skiers. I don't know. It's simple. So let's just not. I always don't overthink it too much. But I hope the structures that I shared give you an idea. All right, there you go. Question of the day: how many miles a week do you run? How do you structure your weekly volume? And why do you do it that way? There you go. Kind of a big topic. Whoa. Have fun down in the comments. Rock and roll time. QD, onward and upward. And we will toss it to, of course, yesterday's vlog, all about the macro level, more about the macro level roller coasters of 2021. All right, everyone. Thank you. Seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.